Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're tackling something I know is highly, highly relatable, that dreaded Sunday afternoon feeling. We're going to unpack some really clever psychological life hacks, along with a few English idioms, to help you build a much lighter mind. We're going to explore how our thoughts can either totally weigh us down or actually give us energy, and how just a few small, actionable habits can fundamentally shift your entire perspective. So, here's our roadmap from a heavy mind to a lighter one. We'll be looking at the weight of the week, flipping the happiness switch, controlling the anxious mind, setting clear and kind goals, and finally, moving through the pain. Let's jump right into part one, the weight of the week, or as we all know it, that Sunday afternoon dread. Picture this, it's Sunday afternoon. It's perfectly calm outside, but inside your head, you are already visualizing the morning commute and all those looming deadlines. This kind of mental time travel creates a literal heavy backpack on your chest. I mean, your body is sitting cozily on your sofa, but your brain is already stuck in traffic, answering difficult emails, right? This backpack is just filled to the brim with stress and thoughts that steal your energy instead of giving it. We definitely don't need more pressure or feelings of inadequacy to start our week. We need positive thoughts that actually fuel us. Moving on to section two, flipping the happiness switch, starting from the inside. So, how exactly does this dread bleed into our mornings? Well, you open your eyes and immediately remember an unanswered email or maybe a mistake you made last Thursday, and suddenly the whole day just feels gray. And what do we usually do next? We grab our phones, we read scary news, or look at negative comments. We literally feed our brains sad food instead of trying to short circuit that dark pattern. Whenever you catch yourself doing this, you're experiencing our first vocabulary phrase of the explainer, dwelling. When you dwell on something, you just sit inside that negative thought. You replay it over and over again, which, you guessed it, just adds more and more heavy stones to your mental backpack before you've even gotten out of bed. Instead, I want you to think of your mind like a garden. You can't always magically change your overall mood in an instant, but you absolutely can change your next 5 minutes. Listen, if you leave a garden alone, wild weeds like negative news and other people's drama are just going to grow all by themselves. But here's the secret. You have a switch. You can actively choose to plant a good seed. Maybe that's putting the phone down, opening a window for some fresh air, playing literally one happy song, or just going for a short 10-minute walk. Now, does it instantly solve all your life's problems? No. But it takes one heavy stone out of your backpack and totally changes the direction of your thoughts. Okay, section three, controlling the anxious mind, specifically when worry just completely takes over. We have all been there, right? When your brain is just exhausted from worrying about things completely outside of your control. This quote hits the nail on the head for that late night struggle. You're wide awake in bed, trying to mentally manage the global economy, the weather, what strangers are saying on the internet, and what might happen at work next month. You're trying to steer the entire universe while you're just trying to get some sleep. If you've ever had a tiny what if escalate into a massive late night panic attack, you know exactly what this next English word means. Spiraling is when a tiny thought, like, oh no, what if I made a typo in that email, suddenly turns into, I'm going to lose my job, go broke, and end up living in the woods. Your thoughts just go deeper and deeper down into a dark tunnel. To actually stop that spiral, try this really practical solution called the two circles exercise. By drawing these two circles on a piece of paper, you visually separate your worries. One column is for what you can control, your diet, your sleep, your phone use. The other is for what you can't control, the past, world news, the weather. Seeing this right there on paper usually reveals a pretty staggering truth. 90% of your anxiety lives in the can't control column. And here's the thing. When you focus entirely on that uncontrollable circle, you aren't really living. You're just keeping your head above water. You're just trying not to drown in a sea that doesn't even belong to you. This is why you must establish a new rule for yourself. You can notice the things you can't control, sure, but you aren't allowed to stay there. You have to shift your focus to one small, actionable item in the controllable column. Give your mind a quiet park to rest in. That brings us to section four, setting clear and kind goals, finding the headlights. This idiom is absolutely essential to remember when you're endlessly scrolling through social media. You see people your age buying houses, traveling the world, starting successful businesses, and you wrongly assume their lives are perfectly green, while your own life feels like dry, barren ground. But remember, the grass isn't always greener. You're only seeing their highlight reel, not their hidden struggles. Because when you let that fear take over, the fear that your life is staying exactly the same forever, With the same job, the same stress, the same problems, you start feeling deeply stuck in a rut. Every day feels completely identical. Worry, scroll, compare, sleep badly, repeat. It's an awful feeling of being trapped without a clear way out. Now, check out how beautifully simple these goals are. They are clear, so your brain actually knows what to do, and they're kind, so you don't crush yourself with pressure. Committing to just a 20-minute walk, studying for 20 minutes, or sending literally one text message a day, these act exactly like headlights when you're driving in heavy fog. You can't see the entire road to your final destination, but they allow you to clearly see the next few meters. And honestly, seeing those next few meters is all you need to slowly bounce back without becoming completely overwhelmed. Finally, let's look at Section 5, moving through the pain and carrying the heavy backpack. Let's address the absolute heaviest stones we carry: true pain, heartache, or profound disappointment. When you experience a really deep loss, it can feel like someone just abruptly switched off all the color in your life. Your natural reaction is wanting to isolate yourself, stay in bed all day, and mentally replay every single mistake or what-if scenario. But as our source material vividly points out, staying in that state all day is literally like wearing soaking wet clothes all day long. It just gets heavier and colder. That state right there, that is called brooding, being entirely trapped inside your pain. But you can't simply think your way out of heartache or a massive life problem. You have to live your way through it. You still carry the heavy backpack of sadness, for sure, but you slowly keep walking with it by doing small, completely normal routines, like taking a shower, eating a simple meal, or talking to one safe person. To do that, we can use a really practical framework for what we can call quiet courage. When a problem feels just too massive and chaotic, here is what you do. First, write the problem down in one single sentence. Not a 20-page diary entry, just one sentence. Second, write down 3 small, non-magical things you could try to help the situation. And third, just pick one of those things to execute this week. That's it. By utilizing those 3 simple steps, you radically transform your mindset. You shift from a panicked state of, I have an impossible problem that is destroying my life, to a grounded state of, I am actively working through this problem. You aren't hiding from it anymore. You're slowly processing it, step by step, with quiet courage. Ultimately, the core message of this entire explainer comes down to this one idiom: the ball is in your court. Life is inevitably going to hand you heavy situations, anxieties, and really difficult Sundays. There's no avoiding it. But your mental well-being is fundamentally in your own hands. You are empowered to make the next move. It doesn't have to be a perfect move, just a small, kind step in a better direction. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. What one tiny, kind step are you going to take right now to lighten your own backpack? Are you going to drink a glass of water, step outside for a minute, or maybe write down a clear goal? The choice is entirely yours. And hey, if you're curious about what other psychological tools can help unpack that heavy baggage, there is always more to explore in the source material. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep taking those kind steps forward.